Hi everyone. So what I want to show off today is using Zalando's metrics adapter in order to scale your Kubernetes deployment objects using the HorizontalPodAutoscaler with custom metrics. Those custom metrics are going to come from InfluxDB running inside of your cluster. And we do that by annotating the HPA with the Flux query. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on. Firstly, we have to deploy the metrics adapter. This code is in the repository. I'm not going to go through it right now, but feel free to take a look and I'll make sure the link's at the end. We're deploying Nginx because it's relatively easy to force a scaling event using any HTTP load stress tool. We're using init containers just to make sure that the bucket exists, and we have a sidecar container running Telegraph. That sidecar container is scraping the Nginx status endpoint to get a few basic stats from the container itself. We also have an HPA configured. Now, like I said at the start, we're going to annotate it with a Flux query. This Flux query is going to run every 5 seconds. It's going to pull out the Nginx metrics. And we're going to kind of introspect this waiting field. What we want to know is, are there any HTTP requests that are waiting for something to handle it? When that number gets too high, with our goal being it to be 1 or less, then we want to scale up the number of pods to be able to satisfy and handle that traffic. Okay. So what we have running here on the top is just a watcher monitoring all of the pods, and we can see our Nginx HPA is running here. And we have the 2 containers, which just means Nginx with Telegraph running side by side. If I jump over to this other tab, what we want to do is just take a look and see that we have InfluxDB running. And I'm going to port forward to this and show you the metrics. It's InfluxDB 7 and 99999999. If I jump up to my browser, we can browse to Influx and we can log it in. There we go. And if we take a look at the metric explorer, we have our Nginx HPA bucket, which was created by the init container. We have our Nginx measurement, and we have a whole bunch of different fields that we can use to determine how to scale this pod. Now, if we just take a look at the waiting field, we will see that, it's 0, 0, 0, 0, and except for my test over here where I managed to cause a scaling event earlier, it's been 0 ever since. So the other thing that we want to do is now provide enough traffic that we can see this scale in real time. Now, in order to do that, I do need to port forward one more time. So we're going to jump up here and we want to port forward to the Nginx pod so that my load balancing tool, which is running locally on my machine, can still hit it. So we're going to port forward. I wonder if that's changed. Let's just double check. It has not. So we're going to expose Nginx on port 9000 locally on this machine. Which means if I go into the same directory, the command should be in my history. But we can run batten, and we're just going to tell it to go to localhost on 9000. That's the port forward and port. We're going to run 512 concurrent go routines, and we want to try and hit this with 200,000 requests. If we hit return, and if we jump up here and we just stick this on a cycle of refreshing, we can see now that the waiting is beginning to increase quite drastically. And now, right on cue, our watcher has picked up that we have to spin up more pods to handle the traffic. So that's horizontal pod autoscaling with the metrics adapter using a Flux query annotated on the HPA. I hope you find that useful, and there'll be a blog published shortly and a link at the end of this video. Thank you very much.